What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics Show. We are live here on a Monday evening, a Victory Monday at that Scotty, on the Phaithful Fanatics Show on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter channels. Guys, do yourself a favor, do us a favor, as the same way we start off every show. Make sure to follow across all social media platforms and smash that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Specifically, it is the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up on the screen here with your host. I'm one half of them tonight, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. My man, it's good to be back here with you. Obviously, last week you were in Virginia. We got the Monday show in, scheduling and your training, so it's a little difficult. And then on Saturday morning, I get a text, $100 Eagles tickets. Do you want to go section 202? Yeah. I'll find my way down there. So we went down a little early and had ourselves a day, but we're good. It's good to be back with you. Victory Monday for the Birds. Sixers, kind of a victory Monday. It's been very poor. It's been very
Take it as a W
for a 1-4 start. However, good news. 90%, 95% chance apparently. Paul George will be making his Sixers debut. His props are up across all sportsbooks, Scotty, if that means anything to you. So a lot to discuss. We have verbal and slightly physical altercations between star player and reporters over the weekend. We have altercations between former legends and college students. A lot to get into, brother, but it's good to be back with you.
Yes, sir. Happy Monday. Happy Victory Monday. Ton to get into, as you mentioned. Obviously, we're going to talk the Birds, man. A lot of positives, right? A lot of positives. There is
so many positives.
There's a few negatives, though. There is a few negatives we'll have to address. Maybe just one. But
yeah, I was gonna say many positives, just slightly outshined or taken away by just one very serious.
Can I say, man, like, geez Louise, man, just take an extra point for God's sake. I lost my one, mind you, my big play yesterday was AJ Brown touchdown, so that obviously didn't hit. My last leg, right? It was my last leg I was standing on was the Eagles to win by 5.5 and to have 28 points in the game.
Nice.
Just take one of the extra points, brother. And I'll cash.
Yeah.
But no,
I will
28 to 23. 5-point victory, and I don't hit anything.
I will throw it out there, though, and I think it's what Martian's talking about, unless he's just talking about the 2-point conversion that came with the fumble recovery touchdown.
Yeah, you can combine them.
They showed it on the screen, man, and then I saw John Clark's tweet later in the night, like, Jalen Hurts got to the goal line on the 1-2.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They reviewed and still said, no, there's not enough evidence.
But you know what, bro? You know what? I look at this game and there was something that changed, and it was right when Sirianni did that whole thing regarding like the extra point review. It's actually what you're talking about. It's when he went and challenged that conversion, but it's the way he addressed the referees, man. Like, I'm not excusing the referees for cheating, because that's what they did on that Saquon touchdown. But I'm telling you, it's the way Sirianni went off on them and like got in their face and did the whole showmanship, right? The cockiness that we always talk about. And I swear to God, after that moment, the ref said, "Fuck you." I swear to God that is what happened in this game. Because from that moment, you just saw the littlest things that could go Jacksonville's way absolutely went their way. That touchdown, that Saquon fumble, man. I mean, my God, this is the type of stuff that can't be allowed, first of all, when you have Gene Steratore on the broadcast disagreeing with two calls. He disagreed with Jalen Hurts' conversion because he did convert, and he disagreed with Saquon fumble because that was not a fumble, man. And when you have the head official or whatever the hell they want to call him, the frame of reference on the broadcast, calling out the failures, that's when guys need to start losing jobs. Because if you look at that, and if that is true about that moment in the game and the refs just saying fuck you to Nick Sirianni, why can't they do that in each and every one of the games? Every time we see a missed call, who knows what's being said to them if that's changing the way they're officiating the game, man.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
brother, I just don't know how you get away with it when there's 8 million cameras covering everything
Yeah,
you guys are the same thing you guys are looking
yeah,
at home to the 70,000-ish people in the stadium. It's across every big board and every screen there. Like it was very obvious, man. Like he got his right shin swiped at or his left shin swiped at, which then caused him to stumble a little bit, and then the
yeah,
ultimate I get it, right? Like the initial swipe, he didn't just face plant off the swipe. He didn't go down
right,
from that. He probably got like 2 feet down afterwards. But that initial swipe, it's any contact, brother. It's if
yeah,
someone is running and you get a finger on
yeah,
his back and then
yeah,
he trips over his own 2 feet and goes down.
yeah.
He was touched before he went to the ground. That's down by contact. So I have no idea how that stood, first of all. Like, just so
Yeah,
bad, man. You mentioned it. Like, between the officiating, 6 points, which turned to 8, plus the extra point, the 2-point conversion that they said didn't count. That's
yeah,
9 points from the officials. Nick Sirianni, our own head coach, took 9 or 10 points off the board all on his own. Dude, I'm sitting
completely
there like,
wild.
even with the officials doing the shit they're doing, at one point or another, I think it's when we were still up 28-23. I'm sitting here like, man, do you realize we should have 37 points right now?
Right.
It would have
Shouldn't
been
even be
37.
sweating.
It would have been 37-23 with 5 minutes left.
Shouldn't even
That
be
game's
sweating.
over. All because of your head coach. So look, we are going to talk about Nick Sirianni
Yeah,
today because
yeah,
it's a problem, dude. It really is. It's the
brother.
one thing that scares me about this team's
Yeah,
ceiling is him
yeah,
not getting the fuck out of the way. But there were
yeah.
so many positives in this
There
game
were,
and how they've been playing ever since the bye week. And just so many cool moments, dude.
brother.
I know Darius already put it in the comments. That is the most ridiculous move I've ever seen. Like I don't know
Yeah,
how he planted one spin, two spin, plants both feet, and then just kind of bends the knees and leaps up back. The Saquon hurdle was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I watched Garrett Wilson on Thursday Night Football have the catch of the year, and then I watched Devontae Smith in person almost top it. I mean, Garrett Wilson's catch is maybe better. The Devontae Smith catch for the touchdown, it was unbelievable. The Jahan Dotson bobble catch through contact on the sideline was unbelievable. Jalen was unbelievable. The storybook ending with Nakobe Dean. First of all, let's start there. That's a difficult catch for anybody, like a defender, to make. Like we talked about Quinyon with his drops and Cooper dropping an interception. Dude, that's a linebacker. Back in coverage, going up off of 1 foot, backwards laterally, and coming down with the ball. That was unbelievable. There were so many cool moments. I thought the defense was really good. Like, I get it. It was a close game down to the ending. They forced 3 turnovers, got to Trevor Lawrence, a few times, got some pressures, and basically only gave up 15 points because obviously the 8 come from the fumble recovery touchdown. So many positives before we start to freak out on our head coach.
yeah, definitely positives, man. It takes away from it, dude. Like when you come away from it thinking about your head coach and all the deficiencies, because I'm sitting here as you're talking through all those things, and I'm like, yeah, that did happen. Oh, like they did do that. Saquon did jump backwards over a player yesterday. But all I'm thinking back is to the time wasted to switch from the extra point that's already made to go for it for 2, and how that must piss the refs off as well, right? Wasting their time. You already have a point on the board. You take it off to go for 2 and rub it in the Jags face, the refs face. I'm just thinking about all the arrogant things that Sirianni tends to do and how I feel in the moment versus afterwards, because in the moment I'm like, hell yeah, like rub it in their face. So like it is hard to come away, and when you really think about it, like hindsight's always 20/20. But like in the moment, most of the time I am living with the aggressive mindset, if that makes sense. It's not that when you go for it on 4th and 3 that's wrong to me. It's how you go about it, I guess, that bothers me. Like that 4th and 1 in the second half, brother, where all right, like you probably could kick the field goal, like, and I won't be mad at that. But when you go and you want to live by your identity, you want to be aggressive, I can talk myself into that. I can talk myself into the brotherly shove on 4th and 1. I cannot talk myself into a Jalen Hurts rollout on 4th and 1. I can't talk myself into that. So that's kind of like what I mean. Like I can agree with the decision to go for it. I can't agree with what the context in which we tried to do it. That's where I can't agree.
And it's got. I think you're spot on. First of all, but also to add on to it, man. Like I agree with some of it. Like I know we technically we got a point and we took it away and came away with nothing on the one where they had the penalty and whatever. And
right,
we ended up going for it. But I would go for if you get the penalty. I'm all for when you have the tush push in your back pocket, getting it to the 1 yard line and going for it there. But the first one where he goes for it from the 2 point, you mentioned the 4th and 1 play. If you're going to stay aggressive, if you're going to keep that mindset, you have to tush push it. Or I remember they ran the one variance of the tush push, but it got flagged for a false start. I wouldn't even do that there, but it's something off of that look. You didn't even, you rolled him out, dude. And then the last thing, it's the same thing he did in New Orleans, Scotty. You can't keep Jake Elliott on the sideline for over 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, dude, Braden Mann is the kickoff guy. Like, Jake Elliott didn't step foot on the field outside of the first extra point. He hasn't even
kicked an extra point. Right,
he only kicked the one, 7-0. That was it, right? So you do that, and then you ask him to kick a 57, 58-yarder with the game on the line, knowing how your defense is playing so well, and Jacksonville can't move the ball. Pin them fucking deep. It's not a 3-point game. It's a 5-point game. Pin them deep and make them drive the length of the field. This was the icing on the cake for me, man, where it's funny because, like, he stayed out of his way the last 2 weeks for the most part, it felt like. And you were like, man, where are you on Nick? And I'm like, I don't have a problem with it. No, we've taken 900 steps backwards, Scotty. This was so much worse than the Saints game for multiple reasons. But the Saints game, there were turnovers. Jalen wasn't that sharp. He had the turnover in the end zone, the fumble, etc. The offense wasn't sharp. In this game, your offense was doing whatever you wanted. I know Dan Orlovsky pointed this out earlier, but let me reiterate this point just to show you how bad the head coach is, okay? He took 9 points off the board himself from his decision-making, essentially, right? The Eagles outgained the Jags by over 230 total yards of offense.
Yeah.
They had the ball for 38 minutes to the Jags' 21 minutes. And the Jacksonville Jaguars had a ball in the air to the end zone with 1.5 minutes left in the game to possibly win the game. That's how bad his decision-making was. 232 total more yards of offense, almost 18 more minutes time of possession. Your offense was flying. It's not like they were really struggling. You won the turnover. You were even winning the turnover battle before the Nakobe pick. Everything.
Yeah.
And they had a chance inside the 20-yard line to bury you at the end on the road.
Yep. And to that point earlier I brought up, right, where, sometimes in the moment, like, hell yeah, go brotherly shove it down Doug's throat, right? Like, let's get this first down. It's not our job to be the head coach and to think like the head coach. Like, there's times where I may be thinking something that is wrong to do. We shouldn't always be on the same page as fan and head coach, right? There are times where he makes these obvious mistakes and we can point them out and say we were right. But in this sense, even if I'm thinking, oh yeah, go for it on 4th and 1, whatever, right? Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should just take the points like a grown-up, like the NFL head coach
How
that
many
you are.
times is it going to
You
take
can't look back on the game and say Nick Sirianni cost me 9 points. After the second field goal you cost the team.
9.
Let's stop right there. Let's just stop right there and go completely conservative at that point, right? But no, he'll double, he'll triple, he'll quadruple down on risking it all.
Except when the actual game clock is getting thinner.
That's when it gets all sketchy
and his mind and his brain malfunctions. There's no way you send Jake Elliott out there on the logo after not stepping foot on the field for 3.5 quarters. There's no way you try to do that for almost a 60-yarder. If you send him out there for a 48-yarder, all right, dude. Like if Jake misses that, it's on Jake. You sent him out there for a 58-yard fucking field goal with less than 5 minutes left and gave Jacksonville prime position when they didn't even have 200 yards of offense in the game before that last drive. They couldn't move the ball.
It was a 5-point game, right? It was a 5-point game. So you kick the field goal, you're up 8?
Yeah.
Versus like just punting the football, right? Like I get it. They can't win if you make that field goal, but
it's still a 1-possession game theoretically.
Right.
And the difference was getting the ball right around midfield or getting the ball possibly inside their own 10 or 15-yard line.
Exactly.
When they haven't had success all day.
Man.
And it's about, but Scott, and here's the point, man. It's about reading the fucking room.
Yeah.
Week 2, Monday Night Football. Did you have any faith in the defense when Nick seemingly did?
Right.
No, but he has faith in the defense that night, and they get buried for it. In a game where he should have confidence in his defense, he does the opposite and puts them in harm's way again.
Yeah, man. It's Scott, crazy. It's crazy.
He owes Nakobe Dean, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae. He owes 98% of the roster.
Yeah.
I don't know what it costs. I don't know. I can't off the top of my head tell you what Nick's yearly salary is the head coach of our Philadelphia Eagles. But man, he has a job today because of them. So
because that's one you get fired over. You lose that game at home on this night. Like I get it. They would be 5-3, but you get fired over that shit, man.
This wasn't the Saints game where Jalen wasn't sharp and this and that wasn't going away. You had a 22-0 lead. Your offense was high flying.
You were getting turnovers. Yeah. You're getting extra possessions, man. There was no excuses. I will give him one pat on the back. Maybe it goes to Kellen Moore, rather. Getting Saquon the ball 30 times in this game. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's
By the way, and I do want to address that because when we sit here and we talk about Nick Sirianni not getting out of his own way, and we talk about that 4th down play, and it just seems like that definitely was a Nick play call, the one you were talking about where you rolled Jalen out.
Yes.
4th and 1, 4th and 2. It seems like a Nick play call. However, man, there was some play design. They continue to do it with Ben Van Smeren in as a fallback. They lined up someone else. I don't know if it was I don't think it was Anai Smith. It was like 82 or I forget.
That is Anai Smith. 82 is Anai Smith.
They had him. It's the play. It's the play. I went back and watched the clip a couple times today. The play design was beautiful. It was Jalen under center, basically a fullback to the left.
Yeah.
Saquon, play action, boot to his right, and he drops it back for Smitty on the deep crosser.
Later
in the second half.
Those crossing patterns, man, those work every time.
Smith picked up a block. I'm like just the play design. Yeah. I think the Saquon route for the opening touchdown was beautiful. Like, there's a lot more of Kellen Moore being implemented into this offense now.
Yo, Saquon's awareness, man, on these pickups, dog. Because you look back, man. How did we get to that 4th and 1?
Did he go down or did he it almost looked like he slipped when he jumped?
So there was one where he broke the tackle and then came to a slide somehow, whether it was accidentally or on purpose, he slid to not go out of bounds or something. But then there was another one where he caught the pass and still went out of bounds right before the first down as well, man. It's just be aware of the sticks. That's all, man. I can't complain about Saquon at all. I'm not. It's just funny. There's been quite a few situations this year. And you look at it in the moment, it's on first down. So you're like, well, they'll get a yard over the next 2 plays. And then here we are, 4th and 1. And we're running a fucking rollout for Jalen Hurts, brother. It is interesting. But Saquon, like you said earlier, he is fucking amazing. And to think of how to simplify your job, man.
Dude, first of all, it was a great play design, and it was a fuck up on Jacksonville's part. But the touchdown at the end of the half, that wasn't that 3rd and 19 we were in? I mean, and
the running back draw, right?
Yeah, the C's just part, and he's just. I mean, he didn't get touched.
And dude, there's these times like where he gets the ball and it's like he's decided I'm taking this one to the house. Like he gets tripped up every once in a while, bro. But like the way he leaves the backfield, he is already in the secondary.
Yeah,
he's unbelievable, man.
Yesterday too, I texted you this at one point, like because I know like he would have a run, and it wasn't like the run in Tampa where it was like the 60-yarder in the heat, and he waved. Like he would get like a run of like 12, on like 1st and 10, and that was his only play of the drive. And he would wave, and like I would see him like kneeling down on. He would like banged his helmet. I'm like, I don't know, but then I'd see him come back in and take one to the house. I don't know what was.
I think he was dealing with a like a neck stinger type of situation from that reverse hurdle, because at the end of that play, he got rocked pretty hard in his back, like when he was coming down. He got hit in his back, and I think like whiplash, that type of thing, in a car accident. Basically, what they're having every play out there. I think he was a little bit banged up. The AJ Brown injury really went kind of under the radar for me. I saw him get rocked on one play, right? Well, I saw him get rocked.
They said it was a knee.
But he said it was a knee. So I thought he may have been concussed, right? When he got hit.
And I saw like 45 minutes ago, the imaging went good. Like there's no
day to day. Yeah. Yeah, I was worried. That was like an underlying like red flag coming out of the game, is like anytime AJ's injured. I will say though, man, Jalen played really well.
Jalen was
with AJ out of the game. Yeah, he played really well.
You, and it really has been ever since the bye week, right? But Jalen's been on another level, man. He's protecting the ball first and foremost. Like that's the biggest thing. I think it does get frustrated
at times.
Yeah,
it gets frustrating at times, but I think that's just what we have to live with as fans. Being, taking care of the football. Like those might be times where those interceptions happen when he's taking a sack or whatever in the pocket, right? But he's sitting in the pocket, he's waiting, he's trying to find the open guy, and I think that's what we kind of have to take that for what it is, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of positives that go into yesterday and the streak that the Eagles are on, right? You look at Saquon Barkley, basically 200 total yards of offense, touched the ball 30 times, freakish plays over and over again, 2 touchdowns, amazing. Devontae Smith stepping up in A.J. Brown's absence, and we know what A.J. Brown brings to the table when he's on the field within this offense. Like, dude, this is, like, you got to think of it this way. This was without Mailata, Goddard, and A.J. for, like, a half yesterday. Like, they're still nowhere near, like, 100% healthy for what this offense is supposed to be bringing to the table. But I say all that to say this, man. All the help is phenomenal. Individually, they are super talented. But the most promising thing to me right now is how one is playing. And that's how this team's ceiling can continue to get higher. Yeah. And I can start to lump them back in with Super Bowl contenders, dude. Like, it's not just protecting the ball. There's a crispness and a consistency and a confidence in his decision-making 99% of the time. There were, man, like I saw it being tweeted like at halftime. Like, there were times watching there where like, it felt like he was holding on to the ball for a long time in the first half a couple times, and he got a sack or two. And that part's frustrating, right? Just get the ball out. Or you're mobile. Like, move, dude.
Yeah, but move. That's what pisses me off, man.
A lot in his legs. But dude,
sometimes he looks like he's this scrambling quarterback, and then sometimes he just sits there.
And I wonder, like, how much is it him getting acclimated with the play design and the calls of Kellen Moore's offense? Because, like I mentioned, with that drop, with that play action rollout to the Smitty crosser deep down the field, that was like, that was on. He was going nowhere else with this football. He got it, turn, roll out, plant, delivered. Like, there's a crispness and a quickness to his decision making right now. Some of those plays to AJ on the comeback routes, on the crossers, I'm loving what I'm seeing, dude. I think I saw a tweet that it's his 4th straight game with over 119 quarterback rating over this win streak. Obviously has no interceptions in his last 4 or 5 games. He's
we're seeing a
promising thing to me, man.
We're seeing a wide variety of, different plays as well, man. I saw some screens out of the backfield to Saquon yesterday. I saw a screen to Anais Smith yesterday on the move. Right, he's in motion before the snap, catches a screen after the snap. Didn't work. It didn't work. But in the moment, I'm still loving it. I'm loving getting a guy involved for his skill set. He's a quicker, he's a shiftier guy. That play might work down the line if you continue to run it. So I just love the versatility to the offense that we're starting to see. You're seeing the I formation, you're seeing the pistol, you're seeing play action.
Man. And here's the thing: it looks
so
like it's
much Kellen
helping
Moore,
Jalen
man.
out.
So
Which
Kellen.
isn't that ironic? Because isn't that something we always believed he might struggle with, and that's why former coordinators would like keep him in the gun 100% of the time.
Yeah,
because maybe he's just not comfortable with it. He looks pretty fucking comfortable operating in that
running the
stance and in
ball
that
out of it
system.
better.
But not only does it helping him, man, we've talked about it with running backs and the type of style runner that Saquon is. He's dynamic. He can do it all. Excuse me. But when you have him under center and you have the play action bootlegs involved, but just to turn and give it to him with that just burst, that initial burst he's able to get from an I formation handoff snap compared to being stagnant, being, his feet set next to Jalen. And then there's an option involved and there's hesitation involved. And now Saquon's, a delayed start, etc. It helps out Saquon Barkley to just get north-south, dude. As strong as he is, as quick as he is with this offensive line, it's the easiest way to get him the fucking ball. So, I mean, offensively, I think they were damn near flawless. And go ahead.
Yeah.
I know you're
I agree with you there as well. I think they were flawless outside of the decision making from the top, right? And that's the coach we're talking about. But this comment, I do agree with this. I do just wonder, like I was saying earlier, like, is this the adjustment? Is this him waiting? I need to get the ball out. But I need to get it to an open receiver. I need to not turn the ball over. Is it him trying to use the middle of the field? He's trying to see more of the field, so he's not seeing that pass rusher. I do wonder how much of him taking like a sack here and there that is annoying as hell to watch is the adjustments he's making to make himself a better passer in the latter part of the
one more thing, man, about this team and about Jalen Hurts. I think this is another week, correct me if I'm wrong, where there was some emotion from Jalen after a first down run.
A big run to the left side, I believe. And you saw that classic
ball.
Love it, though. I love it.
I've been asking for it since year one.
He was a fucking zombie last year, man.
I don't want the machine. I don't want the poetry professor. I don't want that. I want the fucking raw emotion.
The football player.
Yes. The person. I know you're not a robot, brother. You're not. Like, there's no way if you just spoke and were as stoic as Jalen Hurts, you'd be married or engaged. Like, there's just no way. There's no way someone could live with that. I know that's not you. And it just seems like, a couple years in now, and the real Jalen Hurts is being put on display, man. I think you're seeing a lot of it. But like I was starting to say, besides Nick Sirianni, which has to do with the offense was as close to flawless as you could possibly ask for, right?
Absolutely.
Defensively. I mean, another week of
studs across the board.
Just stepping up, man. I know 28-23, it looks only 15 of those points came from the offense.
Right.
And mind you, if Nick doesn't put them in a weird scoring situation, the Jags are probably taking extra points in a normal football game. So the Eagles defense, you know what I mean? Like, I know they gave up 2 conversions. The Jags succeeded on it.
It was a weird-ass game.
It was probably 13, 14 points that the Eagles defense would have realistically given up in a normal game. Picked off Trevor Lawrence twice, won to seal the game. Special teams real quick. The first special teams play of the game for the Eagles. Sidney Brown and Kelly Ringo getting down there for the recovery. Hats off to them, man. But let's just talk about a few things. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are unreal. I don't even know if I watched them throw towards Quinyon Mitchell yesterday afternoon. And the linebacker
it was like the first drive of the play, and it was a third down. That's the only reason I remember it. It's the only reason I remember it, because I was like, oh, third down already. Like, I was getting pissed off already. But no, he outside of that, I did not see him targeted in this game.
Yeah.
And I will throw, man, I'm going to throw Zach Bond in there with those
Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean, dude.
Absolute studs. Yeah. Nakobe Dean as well, man. Studs. Think Zach Bond had 2 pass deflections, an interception yesterday, 10 tackles. Nakobe Dean obviously has the game-ending interception. He's blitzing. He's flying around on defense. It's very impressive, man. Cooper DeJean becoming one of the best.
It's starting to click, man.
corners in the NFL.
Yeah.
It is. They're building chemistry, right?
Yep.
Guys are starting to be in places maybe where they're not even supposed to be, but to make plays. It's awareness that is starting to build across the unit that I'm really starting to like to see, man. Who could imagine that we get this play from the linebackers, dude?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, when's the last time we've had this, dude? And again, it's been 4 weeks.
Last year?
And I do want to say this, man. What we do each and every week, we come on here and we talk about what happened in this game, right? And we're going instance by instance. And I'm not going to apologize for my criticism of Nick Sirianni because he has not consistently proven to me that he can change or he's going to change and smarten up. Jalen Hurts, we were very critical on early in the year. I am ecstatic to say he has proved my questions about him through 4 or 5 weeks wrong over the last 4 weeks. The defense is another part because you and I talked about probably, and again, like this was just us probably being overreactionary and too critical of like a 3-2 team that's been injured, etc. But there was a point in time where I meant, man, the offense isn't clicking, but the talent's there. Like that will click. They're going to get healthy. But I don't know that they're a Super Bowl defense. I said those words on a morning one time on this show a couple weeks ago. I said that to you. Again, they got it. There's a lot of football left to be played. You're going to play, you're going to play the Ravens. So you're going to play the Commanders. Things are going to get tougher. But I am proud to say I will gladly be wrong about this defense. They have studs on the back end. They have stability at the linebacker position. And that defensive front, that was a fucking problem for the first, 2 or 3 weeks, are starting to click a little bit more as a unit. Even if the sack totals weren't there, I felt like they got Lawrence off his spots enough in this matchup. And another thing, man, they've missed a couple tackles. Every team does. The tackling. Like, isn't that something we come into every year? We talk about the Eagles. Oh, they can't tackle. They can't tackle. That hasn't been a problem, I feel like, over the last 4 or 5 weeks.
I'm just looking. I just wanted to see what they were doing sack-wise yesterday. Like you said, only 2 sacks.
Had 2. I think they had 2 for 14
you could see
yards.
The pressure they were getting. I will say, I think that is like you asked me what is the one thing that I think this team needs at the trade deadline, some type of improvement.
Tomorrow.
An edge rusher, man. Like an edge rusher that can just be a little bit more consistent, be a little bit more noticeable, I guess I would say. But this defense is right there. I mean, and the thing is, it's built for the future as well, man. Darius Slay didn't even play in that game yesterday, and nobody even noticed. Isaiah Rodgers was fine.
Sure. Yeah. I think there was like a play or two, like you said, like in the beginning of the game with Q where you saw third down. I think there was like one play where, again, on a third down where Rodgers like didn't want to get beat deep. Oh, it was the fourth down. It was like the play that was like 3rd and 19 or 4th and something stupid. It was he was way. It was pitch and catch, dude, to keep that drive going. It was it was stupid, but that's it. That's it, man.
You can live with it, man.
Yeah.
It is. It's crazy how they're built for right now and for the future. I think Zach Bond, man, you lock him in. Like he has been like this all season, dude. He is a monster.
We've had a revolving door of linebackers come through over the last couple of years. Yeah. Where there's been one like Kaiser White, I probably would have brought. Like, there's been a guy that like, just
Kaiser
solid.
White sticks out,
and they kind of just let him walk after that year. Fuck that.
Yeah, dude is everywhere.
Everywhere. He hits hard as fuck. He can cover a little bit. He can get after the quarterback. He's great in the run game. I think he's just a very complimentary piece next to Nakobe Dean. I think they kind of feed well off of what the other one, has a weakness at.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I love the balance that they give each other. Like you said, Zach Bond involved in like the passing defense yesterday heavily. We've seen him several times this season going downfield with a running back, neck and neck with him, right? I think it was against the Saints, against Alvin Kamara. Now, Kamara caught the pass.
Yeah.
But Zach Bond was in his face. Like, he's playing good coverage out there.
I got to admit to you, man.
Some of the best running backs in the league.
I completely forgot it was Bond that got his hands under that ball at the end of the first half.
Yeah, an interception.
So how are 2 picks were the fucking linebackers? I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. The interception, man. That was Zach Bond as well, just in the right place at the right time. I really like what he's doing. Nolan Smith, I saw him involved a little bit yesterday. I like the energy he brings. Overall, man, Sidney Brown out there flying around on special
Here's
teams.
what I'll
That's all
say,
you can
man.
ask
Look,
from
I
him.
think we're so used to having a dominant front, right? We're building the
Yeah.
trenches here in Philadelphia.
Household
That's what we've
names
loved over
up
the last
front.
couple of years. I think the thing now with this defensive line, and again, I would love another edge rusher added to this by this time tomorrow, because I do think if you do want to compete with Detroit or a team out, if you were to reach the Super Bowl, you are going to want some extra oomph, right?
Simple, like a Zadarius Smith, somebody out there that can get to the quarterback, right?
I promise you, he goes to Detroit tomorrow.
Oh yeah. I think there were rumors on that, right? They're heavily searching for a pass rusher, so they're going to get one to replace Hutchinson.
I just think we're at a point now where this defensive line, they're just good. They're just fine. Like, they're good enough that they make plays, but they're not a negative like they were the first 2-ish weeks of the season, right? Where we're sitting here like, man, they can't tackle, they can't stop the run, they get gashed, there's no pressures. All of that seems like it's fading away. They're just good. They're fine. They're good.
Yeah, and you do have a guy that can take over a game in Jalen Carter. He can have those monster games, right? Multi-sack type of games. Even Josh Sweat, man, he's been getting after it. I think he had the 2 sacks yesterday. Am I tripping there?
He had 2 sacks, yep.
I feel like he had the 2 sacks yesterday. So he
total
can have a game. And I think that's, you look back, like, during that Super Bowl run, like, yeah, we had Fletcher Cox. I get it. Like, that was the household name. But you had BG. BG wasn't like a perennial 10-sack guy.
The year we won or the year we lost?
The year we won. Chris Long.
BG, Chris Long, Timmy Jernigan. Vinny Perry. If anything, dude, they had more guys in the interior of the defensive line.
Yeah. Fletcher Cox was the prolific,
Derek Barnett was on that unit, but yeah, I mean, they had linebackers that year.
Couple guys that got scrappy, right?
Jordan Hicks. So
it is interesting. But the year we lose the Super Bowl, we have Hassan Reddick, double-digit sacks.
That's the year we broke a record. We had 72 sacks in the regular season that year, and then they no-showed in the Super Bowl again. So yeah, I mean,
we have a more balanced defense.
That's it, man. I think Vic Fangio. I think this unit is starting to get comfortable. I know CJ Gardner-Johnson has been far from great this year. Far from good this year, honestly.
Yeah,
and I think there was a miscue in the back end at one point yesterday again, but it seems like there's less of that, right? Earlier on in the year, there's a lot of miscommunications. Big plays are being given up. You see guys talking with one another. You're not seeing that. You're really not. There's also a swagger. Let me say something. Quinyon Mitchell, we talked about being an absolute dog from night 1 in Brazil when he was going back and forth with whoever. Cooper DeJean is not.
He might have more swag. When he stood up, what did he do? He was like this yesterday to the ref.
Yeah.
To the ref. Yeah. Through the ref's head.
Yeah.
On the 4th down stop, bro. Like,
Reed gets sturdy. Reed gets
through the roof.
Yeah, dude. I love the back end. I love the youth back there. The linebackers are finally formidable and make plays. And the defensive front is doing what they need to. And if you have that unit playing in that way, man, this unit realistically, Scotty, over the last 4 weeks, I mean, what have they given up? They gave up 15 points yesterday, right? They gave up 16. Well, no, actually, the Browns only scored 9 against them because it was the blocked field goal. So that was against the Browns, 3 to the Giants, and 17 to the Bengals. This defense has not allowed more than 17 points over this winning streak.
Yeah. And
if you have a defense that's averaging under 21 points, you have an offense that can take advantage of that and win a lot of football games.
And even then, the only games they allowed anything upper 20s was against the Packers and the Bucks. Like, it's been 2 games where you've really struggled defensively.
Let's not forget what happened in the Green Bay game specifically,
turning the ball over
with being put in harm's way in the first half over and over again. So the Tampa Bay game is the one
defense
game.
Has been sturdy, man. The defense has been more than sturdy. Let me ask you this before we get into to Sixers talk here, man. Tough stretch coming up. And I say tough, it's perspective based, right? It's based on the rest of their schedule.
By the way, I don't
What
know if you
is your
see this.
record?
No Dak Prescott this Sunday.
No Dak. Oh wow.
No.
Yeah. So maybe that was a
possibly
W anyways.
And possibly no CD Lamb as well. But Dak's already out.
That was a W anyways.
Yeah.
So you got Dallas. You're at Dallas this weekend, like you're mentioning.
Short
Thursday night football against Washington.
That's going to be late.
Sunday night football at LA against the healthier Rams now. And then at Baltimore after that. So that's our 4-game stretch coming up.
I know you have Carolina thrown in there, but remove that. Steelers at Washington, Cowboys with possibly Dak. I remember weeks ago, and I guess it still is a favorable schedule. I don't think it's anywhere near as easy as it was being thrown out there. It was we have the easiest strength of schedule. I don't think Commanders at LA healthy, at Ravens, Steelers at Commanders is an easy stretch.
I'll be honest, man. The Rams. Nah, man. There's no reason that team should beat us. There's no reason. There's no reason that they should beat us because what would we say is the deficiency against the Rams in the past? It's Matthew Stafford. It's getting those weapons involved. We're more prepared. We're more set up in that secondary than we've ever been to play the Rams. And the big thing for the Rams, man, I just don't think their defense is going to be able to stop us. But to your point, it still is Matthew Stafford. It still is a prolific offense. And I think the big change with the schedule ultimately is the Washington Commanders, right? Yeah. They're a 7-2 football team. That's not a team we had figured into you could lose, right? You obviously could lose to the Commanders. It's always a tough matchup season to season. But this is arguably the best team you're going to play all season now, right? Between them and the Ravens, ultimately, for my money.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, to your point, the Steelers, they are going to be tough. That's a 6-win team right now. And then you finish the season out against your division. So, is it easy? It's not easy. Is it favorable? I do think it's favorable.
You also play 4 of 5 at home to end the year, by the way.
Yeah, we haven't played. It feels like we haven't played at home.
Well, it feels like we haven't played at home, and three of the next 4 are on the road.
Right. Baltimore, LA, and Dallas. So it will be interesting, man. But honestly, 3-1 would be ideal here. 3-1 would be ideal, but is it? You can't lose to the Commanders and the Ravens. You know what I mean? You can't. If you're a good football team, you can't lose to both of those teams just because they have 7 wins.
Because no matter how good they're playing right now, there is a little thought of who have we beaten, right? So now you're going to play the Cowboys without Dak. Let's say you win this one, right? Yeah. And then if you go and lose 2 out of the 3 after that, and it's the Commanders and Ravens,
you lose to the Commanders
in the back of your mind, you're going to be sitting how good are we as good as we think or hope we are, or are we just middle of the
Commanders game is
we
huge.
Beat up on bad teams, etc. I don't think we're that. I think we're a damn good football team.
I agree.
I think we're a competitor in the NFC. But I do think they need to at least split, with those two, and especially the ones coming up. You got the Commanders at home, Ravens on the road. If you're going to pinpoint on the schedule, you'd probably say, well, let's beat Washington in the link. Yeah. And, it's okay if you lose to Lamar and Henry in Baltimore. But
I would be even cool. And don't get me wrong, we would be miserable at that time point if they were to lose on the road to the Rams and the Ravens. But I would rather lose to the Rams than the Commanders, ultimately.
I agree.
I think that might be the most important game of them all.
I think it may depend how they would lose, right? If they go out and McVay and Stafford and Kupp and Nakua expose us, and it's man, look what they did. Think about what the Lions, it's things like that. How do we match up with those teams? But if they went out and lost to the Rams 23-21, 23-20, you know what I mean? Something like that. It's
we would get over it.
Yeah. Exactly.
As long as it's not Sirianni's fault, man, I would get over it, right? That's the caveat in all of this. But the Eagles are in a great spot, man. That's kind of what we're talking about here.
6-2, and we have a serious head coach problem. He is on the season. Nick Sirianni has probably taken away over 20 total points for the Eagles on the season. Yeah. Okay. You have the Saquon Barkley drop. You have the play calling, decision making, etc. All these things. This health. We just talked about it. A.J. Brown goes down at halftime, and you still don't have Jordan Mailata or Dallas Goedert, and this is what your offense has been looking like recently. Like, they have not been fully healthy all year. To get outside of the start of week 1, they have not been fully healthy, and the offense looks very, very dangerous, and they're going to continue to play good football. 6-2 team has probably never been criticized as much. Then again, probably you could meet the 10-1 Eagles of last year and say that again, but
they deserve it, man. They deserved it. I don't feel bad about it. I feel better now. I feel good that they're playing the way they're supposed to, but that's just that. They're playing the way they're supposed to now. They weren't before. And so here we go. We can give them excuses every day of the week, right?
Yeah.
So no need
before we get into the actual Sixers talk, Paul George supposed to make his debut tonight in Phoenix on the West Coast trip. Before we get into all that, we had 2 stories with 2 different legends for these 2 teams this year. One still active, obviously, in Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, and obviously everyone knows the article that Marcus Hayes put out last week. And it's not the first time Marcus Hayes has written, tweeted, said anything publicly in that kind of fashion about Joel Embiid. If you don't know what I'm referencing, I'm sure everyone in the chat does, but it is the article written about kind of his desire to play, his work ethic, and tied it into his son and his legacy and his dead brother, etc. It's not the first time he's brought up the dead brother. Like that should be on record also. Like, you know, Joel didn't just go berserk after one thing, right? So ends up getting reported that they got into a verbal argument. Joel, obviously more so than Marcus, saying things in the locker room. First of all, I also do put blame on the Sixers for this and secure. What Marcus Hayes should not have been in the locker room.
Exactly.
Marcus Hayes should have never been allowed. Let's not act like people weren't talking in the locker room privately. You're telling me no one knew Joel Embiid's feelings or upset, anger or anything towards him after that article, and you put them in the same vicinity. That's on you guys as well. It gets tweeted by Keith Pompey that he punched him. He did not punch him. He shoved his shoulder. How hard, we don't know. Got broken up, etc. The Sixers come out and apologize, and obviously the Sixers are going to do so. I don't blame Joel Embiid one iota, brother. Like one, I know. Like we look at these, he does. Like you have to try to be better. Like you're in that line, you're in the limelight. You're paid all this money. You're the star. You're the face of the city. You're the face of the franchise. You can't technically be putting hands on people.
Yeah.
Talking about someone's dead brother, for a couple times now, and bringing up his son and his legacy. And it just had nothing to do with the basis of the article for the most part.
Yeah.
Didn't need to be said. I don't blame Joel Embiid, nor do I blame the other one that happened up in Happy Valley before the Penn State game. Jason Kelce smashing a kid's phone, maybe 2 kids' phones. I didn't even see the other thing that happened where like a kid even pushed him trying to get to his phone a little bit. Here's the problem with this generation being my generation, the younger generation, just the world in general today with social media and et cetera. This is a generation of people that have never been punched in the mouth. Simply what this is.
Yeah.
That's all this is.
Everyone's got cameras now, man.
You would not have your phone recorded in someone's face.
Yeah.
Saying the things you were saying about a guy's brother, his family, again, lines you don't cross.
Yeah.
If you've been punched you know better.
Yeah.
Again, I saw someone say this earlier, man. You have the freedom in this country to say whatever you want.
Yeah.
But there are consequences to your words and your actions.
Yeah. And that's my thing.
This generation doesn't know from social media and recording everything and just being, I don't even know it's just
being assholes, man. Just being ignorant assholes, dude. Yep. Like, you think that somebody wants to hear their brother be called any type of derogatory slur while they're visiting your
First of all, let's take it at the core of what was said. How does that
equal that
even make sense?
Yeah.
Your brother's your brother's gay.
So you're using that term.
Your brother's gay for
whatever
dating
reason.
One of the most popular women on planet Earth.
Right.
So the insult in itself is stupid. It's probably an 18, 19-year-old freshman, whatever.
What do you want out of it? What do you want to get out of it? You want to fight Jason Kelce? What is it? You want to fight this big ass professional offensive lineman?
He wants a moment, Scott, and he got
the moment, right? Well, you got it.
It'll probably work out in his way because he took his personal
get a new
property,
phone.
and he'll get whatever.
He'll get
he'll get
a
something.
court case and an
He'll get
award,
something
right?
out of it, dude, because that's all they want. And again, it's a
Yep.
generation. It's never been punched in the fucking face. Because
Yep.
if you have before, you would not go around running your mouth to 6'2", 200 and whatever pound Jason Kelsey that literally moves guys like Dexter Lawrence with his bare hands. And you are going to press him about his brother.
And
Same thing with Joel Embiid, dude. It's people like, I promise you, Marcus Hayes never been punched in the face. And I get it. It's a work setting. You can't do it. In any work setting, you cannot put your hands on someone else.
it's a work setting until you make it personal.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
agree.
work setting until
as
it gets
much as
personal.
Joel Embiid is responsible for his act, it all stemmed from someone crossing a line. So
It just depends, right? Like for me with that situation with Joel, it depends. Like, does Joel just go up to him and push him, right? Or does Joel go up to him and say something? Or does Marcus Hayes say something to Joel? Or does he repeat himself in person? Because if he repeats himself in person, reiterates it, right? Yeah, you might get slapped, man. We saw Will Smith do it, man. We saw Will Smith do it, man. And it wasn't right. I know it ain't. Violence is really never the answer, man. But on a personal level, reality.
I forget who's saying it was, dude.
Emotions.
It's a former athlete saying or a celebrity saying that I've seen. It might be Darius, but it's someone that I've seen publicly say violence is never the answer, but sometimes it is. I'm sorry. And again, I know you can't do it, but you will not see me utter a word about Joel Embiid or Jason Kelsey and say, you got to be better. You're paid to be better. Yeah, they're paid a lot of fucking money. They're paid a lot of money to play a sport or to do a pot. They're not paid a lot of money to be a fucking robot.
To deal with your shit. Yeah, exactly.
So that shit was all crazy, man. And you know what it was too? Because at Penn State, like, he's loved, like, it's Pennsylvania, obviously. Guarantee you it wasn't. No Eagles fan would have. No, like, I'm not saying it like, but you know damn well that kid was probably like a North Jersey kid or whatever, like Giants fan, drunk,
Giants
19
fan.
years old, saying, look, I'm going to heckle Jason Kelsey. And then, well, go get your phone, bud.
Your phone for the day.
Saturday.
Now you don't get any videos of the game, dog.
Yeah. So anyway, those two stories, in one day, we had those two.
That was crazy.
issue stories come
Philadelphia
out and
sports, baby.
Reported on. So, yeah, Philadelphia sports never disappoints. Tonight, Sixers after dark. God, I just dealt with this with the Flyers here. Now here we are with the Sixers in Phoenix to start off this West Coast trip. Paul George set to make his debut tonight. Sorely needed because the Sixers are 1-4.
Yeah.
To start the year, man. They're 7.5-point underdogs on the road in Phoenix, even with the news of Paul George returning. So they are not technically expected to go and win this game and get to 2-4. They are kind of expected to get to 1-5. And might be that way against a lot of these upcoming opponents if Joel Embiid does not get his ass on the floor soon. With that said, man, I've just been so uninspired in this team without Joel and Paul George.
Been kind of checked out, I won't lie to you.
I went to the game against the Pistons that started this kind of stretch of ugliness. Lost a lot of money. Continue to believe, just lost a lot of money putting my faith in this team.
Man. They've had 2 games where there's absolutely no excuses. The Pistons and the Toronto Raptors that first week of basketball. So
Scotty, I'm going to be honest, man. I drunkenly intoxicated put my money on the Sixers on Saturday night. But I will tell you this: I know Ja Morant came to town. I get that.
Yeah.
I will tell you this though: I did a little bit of intoxicated research. Who the fuck did the Memphis Grizzlies have on the basketball floor next to Jaren Jackson and Ja Morant?
Jay Huff or whatever the hell from UVA, man. I remember that dude.
I mean, honestly, so that is my point, man. Like, it's an explanation as to why. Like, yes, this is not the Sixers team that you are going to see or expect try to win a championship. That is what Joel Embiid and Paul George now, right? However, it's also fair to expect, it's not an excuse, it's fair to expect that they look formidable and competitive against other bad teams, because guess what, brother? The Detroit Pistons, those Toronto Raptors, the injured Memphis Grizzlies, the Brooklyn, they never have Joel Embiid or Paul George.
Right.
Never had those guys.
Right.
You went out and constructed a roster that's, yes, complementary to those two being on the floor, but is also supposed to carry the load a little bit against like Scotty, man, we're sitting here talking about a load management plan. If they look like this against the Pistons and the beat up Raptors and Grizzlies, that's out the fucking window.
Yeah.
Because we can't be a playing team again.
No, I agree, man. And I think, a lot of this, I am going to throw a little bit of blame to Nick Nurse because the offense sometimes is just completely stagnant. I don't know what they're running. That has, to me, that's a coaching thing at times.
Yeah,
but
I'm glad you brought that up, man. I am uninspired by him right now, dude.
Yeah, I am too. Just even the decision making, man. I'm sorry, but when these guys are playing uninspired basketball, you give minutes to young guys. Jared McCain should be on the floor. He is playing better than the other guys. That's all I can say. He's not playing great. He's playing better than the other guys. It's not just that, though. Tyrese Maxey, I will say this, man, and I'm not going to, overly judge him in this moment, but
not playing, though.
A lot of it falls on his shoulders. You're shooting the ball horribly. 39% from the field, 26 from the three-point line. That's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's the things we make fun of other players for.
Yep.
So it can't happen. And I will say this. This is the first season I feel where I made a prediction, and maybe it was my own fault, right? But he has not made the jump that I expected. And like I said, I may be a victim of my own expectations for him. I'm not blaming him for that. But I did at least expect him to come out and be able to make plays for his teammates a little bit better, man.
Yeah.
He honestly looks worse in that department in my eyes, man. He looks a little bit more confused. I know a lot of it can be mental with the responsibility, being a leader.
And we'll see tonight, man. It's having Paul George next to you is going to make life easier.
It's going to make it easier.
Yeah.
It's going to make it easier. But I thought that he could get us through some storms.
Well, again, we're 5 games in. They haven't had Paul or Joel for a singular second next to him on the floor this year. He's still incredibly young. We talk about it all the time, but to be fair, like you mentioned, but you did mention it. We make fun of other teams and other guys like this. You just got maxed out this offseason. Well deserved. So glad it happened.
Fair point.
You're not playing up to that standard right now. Through 4.5 of the 5 games, you have not lived up to that standard so far.
Look, Jordan Poole can average 30 points with those type of shooting numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. He's shooting the ball a lot as well, which means other guys aren't getting shots.
And the issue, Scotty, to compound it, it starts with him. Obviously, he's the guy. He's the number one option. Most of the offense is running through him. He's taking 20-plus shots a game. But it's a trickle-down effect. He was 8 for 19. Kelly was 5 of 15. Caleb Martin's been horrid. Caleb Martin has been fucking horrid. The whole point of Caleb Martin is to fit next to Joel and in between all these guys. So, knock on wood, it looks a lot better fully healthy, as probably will everybody else. However, I thought, remember what we would joke around hey, man, imagine if we just had Caleb Martin instead of Tobias Harris. Caleb Martin's been horrid so far.
Yeah.
Kelly, not consistent. Andre Drummond, 1 for 7 from the floor. Brother, again, I didn't watch much of the game. I was out and about. Don't you shoot the ball from within
He's throwing the ball over the rim on dunks. How does this happen?
So
1 for 7 for Drummond?
Yeah, it's just they're not efficient. Jared McCain, 50%, 19 points, obviously career high in 17 minutes. Eric Gordon was 4 for 6 on Saturday. Wow, I didn't even notice. Reggie Jackson got run and, of course, did not look good. 1 for 5, 1 for 4 from deep with it in 9 minutes. So they're not. That's the thing, man. They're just, and it's every game. They're not shooting the ball well. They're not shooting well. They actually shot 41% from 3, but they're not shooting the ball well in general. They're not shooting well as a team from deep. 3 of their 4 losses have been at home, and 3 of their 4 losses have been by double digits.
And on top of all of this, you have the fans against you. You have the media against you because of the way you've handled.
And now you have the head coach and player and the star player kind of lashing out to the media and to the fans. Which, again, I'm not saying it's not deserved. I am not saying that, the fans, if we're going to dish it, you have to be able to take it. We want to act like we're this hard-ass, this hard-nosed fan base.
But do we need this right now?
However, though, there is some point to it because I'm not trying to pile on to it. You cannot sit here, and I'm okay with him not playing. Again, like the Pistons, the Raptors, like these teams in October, early November, these should be the games where they should win without him. However, man, you can't sell me that this is a load management plan right now. And that's what kind of got unraveled last week through the fine and the $100,000 is that it's not. And that's why Nick Nurse, Joel, you're getting a little pushback. It's not that you're not playing. It's that you're tried to sell it as this is the plan, blah, blah, blah. Like I get it. Joel's 100% correct what he said to the media on Saturday or whenever it was, on Friday, talking about how he's done too much for this city to be treated like this and called out Marcus. Yes. And the brother, yes. But it was sold as a plan. Yeah. When in reality, there's something.
Things aren't going according to plan, right?
Yeah.
And
Nick, Nick's just the spokesperson for it because he's the head coach. Maybe he's not getting all the news, etc., but he's getting testy in the first 3 games with reporters being it. Brother, you're going to be asked about it.
Right.
Like, is he that detached? Coming down about this, you're going to be asked about it.
I mean, is he that detached from the medical staff and ownership and the GM? You know what I mean? Like the way he acts about things.
I don't blame Joel. I blame the Sixers. But then to relay the message to Nick and Joel, you can't be surprised if there's testiness or people pissed off because, man, it's the history of it all, too. Yes, you've played injured. You put your body through hell last year. We know everything you did. I'm grateful for it. And you balled out in 5 of the 6 games or 4 of the 5 games against the Knicks last year with all those issues. But there's a pent-up aggression and hostility about your injury history. Right or wrong, that's just the fact.
Yeah. No.
And now here we are, another year. Oh, we have a load management plan. Okay, great. Well, we're currently 5 games in. We're 1-4.
Not going great.
Look horrible.
It's not going good. It's not even going bad. It's going terrible.
And it doesn't even seem like you're that. You still seem like a week and a half, 2 weeks off. Minimum.
Let me ask you this to kind of close out the show, go into tonight's game, obviously. I don't know if you want to do predict. I mean, I'm not expecting them to win this game tonight. The Suns are playing good basketball right now. They're like 4 or 5-1. It's in Phoenix. Paul George first game back. I don't even want them to stress Paul George out to that point where they feel like they got to win it, right? Panic meter 1 to 10. Where are you at with the Sixers right now?
I just think it would be silly to be panicked on November. What's today? The 3rd or the 4th? The 4th.
Yeah.
I think it would be silly to be panicked on November 4th due to a bad start. I just will say the cause for concern is if there was a plan. I'm not saying you can just bail on it 5 games in and you need to run Joel's knees into the ground just to. I mean, brother, you're going if the plan stays true, you're going to be a play-in team again.
Yeah,
forget
we
top
can't
2
afford
seed,
that,
top
man.
3 seed, top 4 seed. You are going to be a 7, 8, 9 seed in the Eastern Conference and be fighting for your lives again just to get in, and then have to play the Knicks or the Celtics in the first round, and then the other one in the second round. It's too much. Yes, you need him to get healthy, but you also need to position yourself favorably. In when you get there. So it's not the most difficult fucking road to get to the finals or to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And right now it doesn't look right. Now again, we haven't even had Paul George either. So maybe they beat the Pistons or the Grizzlies if Paul George plays. Maybe they beat the Raptors if Paul George plays, but just not Joel. We're going to start to see more of that now that he seems to be coming back, right? But still, they never have success without Joel. So,
and you can't sell me that Paul George is just going to play the rest of the games this season either, right? Like the plan was to load manage them, but have one there when the other's not, maybe, right? We need to get this all squared away. We need to get Joel healthy, and it needs to be ASAP, man. We need to see it all together. But I agree. There's no need to panic right now. I think from the standpoint of them winning games without, Joel and PG, sure, panic can be at 10, but you just have to hope that that's not going to be all season, because otherwise, if it was, you're not going to win anything anyways. So that is the other side of things. We just got to hold out that hope.
Yeah, and unfortunately, my ass will probably stay up late and watch
I
at least
will
the
be
first
watching.
half of this game, unless they're down by 28 and I decide this isn't worth it. I don't think that's going to happen.
I
Like you
think they'll
mentioned
play
before,
tough, though. Yeah.
I don't know if there is going to be a restriction on Paul George if he's a full go. What tonight's going to look like, because we talked about it, man, as a best bet looking. His points are sitting at 17 and a half. That seems like an automatic over. But what if they're going to, like you said, what if they ease him into this? I sit here, need 18 points, and he plays 17 minutes.
Right.
I have no idea. And I don't know. Like, I'm not going to get any answers out of Nick Nurse. Like,
the one game that we
way.
did pick them to lose this season, they have won. So just as weird as everything else has been, who knows tonight? I'm not going to lay my money on them winning, but I do expect them to go out there and play them tough. And hopefully the Paul George, return revives them a little bit, gives a little bit of life to them, a little bit of hope.
Because, yeah, man, like, Scotty, you're playing the Phoenix Suns. Like you mentioned, 5-1, undefeated at home. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. I believe Bradley Beal's playing. I know he missed like 2 games ago or something, but I'm assuming he's playing, right? We know they have the big three and they have some shooters around them, et cetera. You now have, if he's a go, like a full go, you have Tyrese Maxey and Paul George with help around. Yeah, like you do. Like, that's why this roster was constructed this way. I'm sorry. Like, do I think you're going to win? No, I don't. I also can't go out there and watch you lose by 16 points tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to be excusable. It's not going to be excusable. So we'll see, man. We got 4 hours till tip off in Phoenix.
Got Duke to get me there, baby. 7 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. College basketball out to a ridiculous start. There's like over 100 games on today, dude. 0-1 to start the year, unfortunately. The Billikens.
We're going to get right. We're going to get right.
Were unable to cover for me earlier, but we'll see what we got going on tonight, man. Guys, for myself, for Scotty, for DSM, do yourself a favor, do us a favor. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms, Twitter, most importantly, out of all of those. Check out the link tree in the bio. It will take you directly to this YouTube channel. It's the best and only spot to check out and get your comments put into the conversation with us. We cannot see them on Twitter still for some reason. So follow, subscribe, like the video, share the video. We appreciate each and every one of you as always. Peace out, everybody. Have a happy Monday.
Peace, everybody. See you Wednesday.